All right, Jim Stryker, it's been almost a year since Harvard. Fill us in. What has been the benefit for you? What's happened great as a result of you speaking at Harvard last summer?
Thanks for having me and giving me the opportunity to do this, Clint. I really appreciate it. The biggest takeaway for me really from Harvard really has just been the level of credibility that has come my way, the doors that have been opened. But I would mainly just say that the credibility that experience created for me in my business and in my personal life has really been immeasurable. It's been incredible.
Let's deal with
Absolutely
the
incredible.
business first. Give us some business results that have come out of Harvard that you can attribute straight to speaking at Harvard.
Yeah, so business result, wise, is I've been asked to speak at other mediums and at other forums and for other companies. So that's been fantastic because, once you're a Harvard speaker, your game has been elevated to a whole nother level. And so, again, it's an instant credibility factor, a trust factor that's really hard to gain, on your own, right? So having that available has led to speaking engagements at companies like Southwestern Consulting, right, 160-year-old sales training company, to speak at other mortgage company venues and their sales functions, and other real estate companies that invited me in to speak to them on elevating sales and positioning and high trust selling and things of that nature. And so, all of which Clint was not part of my talk at all. In some ways, I'm convinced that very few people have even watched the video of my talk at Harvard. They just have the fact that, hey, it's kind of like the author that has the name on the spine of the book. It's in the bookcase, but very few have actually picked up the book to really read it. So it's just that level of credibility and that trust. And thankfully, that's the door opener, right? Then you got to go in and perform and really be who you say you are. So yeah, goes both ways.
Has that generated leads or deals for you?
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's probably resulted in at least. Last time we ran the year-end numbers, so I don't have year-to-date right now. That'll be close, but I'd say about $185,000 in additional income that has come my way, just to me personally. But Clint, we've probably done an extra $50 million in top-line sales as a result of that, just in volume and new recruits. So big number, and it's still going. I mean, it's hard to put a ceiling on that because, like, this week I'm heading up to Anchorage to speak to another $120 million group. And so, things like that, as a result of somebody found me on Facebook, they resonated with an ad that I had. They went and Google searched me. They looked at me and said, hey, this is somebody we ought to listen to.
Now, I remember when you were getting ready to come to Harvard, you were pretty shaky ground at that point in your career.
Yes.
How did this, what was the impact of this experience in terms of turning that around for you? How long did it take before Harvard took out the shakiness and put you on solid ground?
Well, I think immediately. So, I know I don't want this to come across as disingenuous in any way, shape, or form, but I'll just tell you that from my perspective, I was sort of like middle of the road in terms of authority and positioning and high trust. And then after Harvard, that just went 10 steps, further. And so I really just didn't have to work as hard to pre-educate, pre-sell, if you will, who I am and what my intentions and my motivations really are. It pretty much just was like, hey, I can help you, you can help me, let's do some business together and let's get that done. So it just boils down to that authority and that trust, perspective that's come in. So it's been a confidence booster, it's been a morale booster, it's been a trust booster, a high trust, booster, all the way around. There hasn't been anything as powerful that I've invested into myself into that has given me this much of a lift.
And on a personal level, you said it impacted you on a personal level. Was that what you were talking about, or are there other things that you wanted to address?
Yeah, one of my passions is speaking and really speaking to underprivileged young men and women in schools and in the foster care system. And I've thankfully and very humbly been invited in to speak at various schools around my area, to kids that are, somewhat troubled and are going through some stuff, and other foster cares and group homes and kids, and really being able to speak to them. And the intro is, this is Jim Stryker, founder and creator of, the Elite Four-Step Mortgage Marketing Program, a Harvard speaker. And the game just gets elevated in there. And so if I can use my influence and my power to do good in the world, and use Harvard, my experience at Harvard as a tool in that, then by all means I'm going to do it. So personally, it's been great. My family also has been elevated. So, my grandpa and my mentor, from my mom, my aunts and uncles. I mean, look at this kid, Jim Stryker, right? So from a foster kid to a millionaire by 30 to a, net worth of, 30 million to then bankrupt to, eating peanut butter as a kid to now a Harvard speaker. Here you go. Well, life is just one big, great, journey. I'm happy to be along for the ride, and Harvard has elevated my position in a big way.
What would you say to the person who finds himself in your position, where it's really a stretch financially, emotionally, egotistically, to get yourself to Harvard? What would you say to that person who's evaluating that decision right now?
Well, what I went through was everything on the other side of fear and comfort is where all the fruit is. So it's like, you're standing you climb a tree, you're holding the tree, and you want to get to the fruit, you got to go on a limb. And that's where all the fruit is. And taking that risk is to do this and believe in yourself and love yourself enough to invest that money to go get it done would be the equivalent of standing in front of a cash machine, putting, $10 into it and taking out $20 for the rest of your life, right? And so you have to put that $10 investment in to pull that money out. But there's no greater investment. If you're somebody who is selling anything, and your job is to gain trust, authority, and educate people so that they are really pre-sold and pre-educated by the time they get to you, being a Harvard speaker will accomplish that for you in so many ways. It's really immeasurable.
Fantastic. It was very gratifying for me, Jim, because I remember the conversation that we had like it was yesterday. I was right there. I had that conversation in my bed because we had an early call, and it was an early call. And, you were like, I really don't think I can swing this right now. And I'm like, man, this is not the person that I see Jim Stryker as. I see Jim Stryker as a guy who's got the world in the palm of his hand. And I want you to know how gratifying it is for me as a coach to see this have the impact on you that I knew it was going to have if you could only just walk through the fear and get to the other side.
Yeah, I remember that conversation like it was yesterday, and it's probably one that I'll never forget. It replays in my mind a long time, Clint. So I'm very thankful for the opportunity that, you and I had that day, because quite frankly, I was talking myself out of it. And I didn't want to do it. And I found every reason in the world why I didn't believe in myself, love myself enough to let my magic and my greatness shine. And if it wasn't for you to have the courage to call me out and say, listen, dude, I care for you. I like you. I don't know you that well, but I know there's some greatness inside of you, and this is your platform to do it. And so, leave it up to you to find, the courage to do this. But this is one of those things. Believe in yourself. Go get it done. And I thought about it and I prayed about it, and I still didn't want to do it. But there was a voice inside of me that resonated with the words that you were saying, and you didn't let me off, easy, which really meant a lot to me, because you cared enough about me and you loved me enough to know the impact of what speaking at Harvard was really going to do, and the program that Allie and you put together, and all the other lives that were going to be touched as a result. It taught me a lesson of, don't let people off the hook of their lives so easy. It's okay to challenge them, to push them, to care for them, and not just let that easy, fearful, comforting no sit there and be a toxin in someone's brain. It's okay, from taxi driver to putting people in front of Harvard, like it can be done, and I use that, a lot. So I thank you very much for pushing me to make that decision. It's one that will impact my life, forever. When I'm on the phone constantly with people that, are waffling, sometimes people do that, right? Not everyone's ready to make that decision to get out of their comfort zone and break a personal, barrier, what have you. But it gives me that extra motivation, that extra care, that extra love to say, you know what, you can do it. I know you don't want to do it, but I know you can do it. And so it helps me to believe in others, just as I had to eat my own cooking and believe in myself.
Yep.
I'm a practitioner of things that I teach and the things that I say as well. I'm not going to have you do it if I don't do it.
Amen to that. And, this year we have Caitlyn Jenner coming as one of our 2 speakers. We got George Ross, Executive Vice President and Senior Counsel for the Trump Organization. And we have Caitlyn Jenner, who I believe is the 5th most famous person in the world right now, behind Donald Trump, Hillary Clinton, Kim Kardashian, and Kim Jong-un. The next person that people would recognize would be Caitlyn Jenner. And I was thinking about it today and how, like, anybody who is in my world, anybody who has come through any of my training programs, if you are not registered to come to Harvard this year and get that main stage photo opportunity with Caitlyn Jenner and ask Caitlyn a quick question so that you can have an answer to your question. Like for me, I'm going to ask Caitlyn, what's the most important thing you ever learned? That's my question that I ask all the major celebrities. And I'm going to ask Caitlyn that so I can add her in for all of my marketing on that issue. And one day I'll even have it, like I'll talk about it on a podcast, probably like the most important thing I've learned from all these different people. And I got to tell you, man, it's like, as a coach, it's very important. And that's what you are. You're a coach for mortgage brokers, right?
Correct.
Essentially, you manage mortgage brokers, so that means you coach them. And I honestly, it's like when you really believe in something, you can't let these people cheat themselves out of getting the benefit if you know that something is going to help them. And that's exactly what happened for you last year with Harvard. And I'm going to send out this video to every single person who's ever come through my training. And if you're a mortgage person and you want to make more money, you should hook up with Jim Stryker. What's your website, Jim?
You can go to helpmescalemymortgagebusiness.com.
Okay.
JimStryker.com, or you can reach out to me on Facebook, LinkedIn. You can email me. All my information is definitely out there. I'm very visible, on social media. My passion is to help people live, learn, earn, and give, and help people smash that fear, that story that's going on in their brain. So I'm big on that. And kudos to Caitlyn. Look what she's been able to overcome with all the fear that was rolling around in her head for decades, right? With regards to what she had to do to overcome, all that to be the person that she is. So absolutely inspirational. Who doesn't want to be in the room with that person who overcame that story, right? Amazing.
People don't get it. People do not understand what's going to happen when that lady walks into the room and comes up on stage with me and then sits on that stool with every single person and takes pictures as if you're interviewing Caitlyn. And really you are. You're going to have time. You're going to have time to ask her a quick question. And if you don't do it, you're nuts. And if you've learned anything from me, I mean, look at what I have done with one of my primary weapons in marketing, which is celebrity attachment. I use it all of the freaking time. I am constantly using it. I don't know if you've seen my magazine lately. It's like, okay, I got my Wall Street Journal article. I got stages that I've been on. And then I go straight into testimonials, and then I'm right into celebrity attachment with Chris Rock, with Ringo Starr, with Mike Tyson, with Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton both, and continuing on like with more testimonials. And it's like celebrity attachment is one of my main smartest weapons that I use. And if you're not using it in your business, if you're a member of my community and you're not deploying your celebrity attachment assets, what's going on? What has to happen? What do you have to think you deserve? And the most interesting thing about this whole thing is, like, you talked about like the progress that you made in your mind by becoming a Harvard speaker, what that did to increase your confidence. And what happens with a lot of these things, people say to me, how do you get these pictures with these people? The first thing you need to do in order to get a selfie with a major celebrity is believe that you deserve to get that selfie. It really starts right there. I remember when I got my BMW X5, the way it happened was I was just reading a paper and I saw an ad for a BMW X5. It was $498 a month, and I was paying $482 a month for a 6-year-old Jeep Grand Cherokee. And I'm like, what? I could have an X5 for what I'm paying for a Jeep Grand Cherokee, my dream car. It's like, as soon as I felt like I deserved the dream car, I swear to God, Jim, the very next day I was driving my own BMW X5. I didn't care about the Jeep anymore. I deserved it. And that's what has to happen with these celebrity attachment photos. And when you've got a picture with Caitlyn, who don't you deserve to have a photo with after that point, you know? Really?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, it happened with me with Suzanne Somers. I'll tell you, just having the ability to have my picture, with her on stage and be able to, have the laughs that we shared and go to the line of questioning. I get asked all the time, what was that like? How is she like? And I'm like, listen, let me tell you a little bit about her story. What makes this woman so remarkable? And it's instantly a connection, right? People connect with story. But what's amazing about that is just the connection that you have with somebody who endured that story that went on in her mind, and that success and the failure, and just what people been through. And one of my really good friends and mentor, I speak to a lot. Ryan Fletcher says this. He says, never talk to anyone until they know you're someone. When somebody knows you're someone, your level of positioning and authority goes up to here. And so when somebody knows you're someone and you have celebrity attachment, believe me, there isn't any selling. It's done. How can I help you get to where you want to go? What story is in the way? What is in the way of you getting what you want? Then you can address that and get it done. But your celebrity, authority helps you get there. When somebody sees your magazine, Clint, it's like nobody questions whether or not you can put them in front of the most famous people in the world. It's like, Clint, what do I have to do to get that done? It isn't you having to say, look everything that I've done. This is what I do. I'm Clint Arthur. I can get you famous. Done.
That's a great thing that guy says. Never talk to anybody. Never talk to
anyone until they know you're somebody.
That's really, really, really smart. And nothing does that quite as quickly as celebrity attachment does. When you start stacking up all the major people, and look, if Suzanne Somers was, even if somebody came last year, I still think you should come this year. Tell a different story or tell the same story again, but get these pictures, because when you stack up George Ross and Caitlyn Jenner on top of Suzanne Somers and the most interesting man in the world, now you're something. You really got something going. I mean, I don't have many more than that, but if all you did was have most interesting man in the world, Suzanne Somers, George Ross, and Caitlyn Jenner, it's like, whoa, that's somebody. That's somebody doing something. And I really want to encourage everybody and anybody who is in my world, if you're watching this video, call me or Allie and let's figure out a plan for you to come to Harvard this year and get this opportunity, because I guarantee you, I freaking triple dare you to defy this guarantee. You are never going to get on stage with a more famous person than Caitlyn Jenner in your lifetime, period. Not under these circumstances. You're not going to be in front of 100+ people at the Harvard Club in Boston. Let's just take that out. Let's just say you're never going to be in front of 100+ people on the main stage as if you're interviewing somebody more famous than Caitlyn. That is never going to happen in your lifetime, ever. If it happens, I'll refund your money. I don't care when it is. I'll look forward to that moment right there. Get on the phone with me or Allie. Allie's number is 310-922-8481. My number, the new number, is 212-888-2999. And let's get on the phone and make that happen for you, because I want everybody that I care about. And if you're a student of mine, I care about you. And I want you to get this. So call me, 212-888-2999, or text me, and we'll hop on a quick call. All right. Anything else you want to say to anybody who is on the fence or scared about going and stepping up for Harvard, Caitlyn, and George Ross?
I think you covered it. You made the safest guarantee that you possibly can make to everybody, to anyone and to everybody. Seriously, with regards to it being an investment in yourself, the investment that you make of sharing the stage with Caitlyn Jenner and going to Harvard will have impacts in your life that will ripple, forever. And so, if you're in the long game, if you're in the business game, if you're in the game of living, learning, earning, and giving, and you want to never talk to anyone until they know you're somebody, this is your opportunity to become a somebody instantly, overnight. You are now a somebody. So you can't put a price tag on that. Get that done. Make the decision. You'll be glad that you did. I am.
I'm looking forward to seeing you on the main stage at the Harvard Club in Boston next to Caitlyn Jenner.